Oath of Moving on to A4, oath of office for new board members. Mr. Schachman, you
Yep.
want to
So, like I was saying previously, we will be electing board. Oh, excuse me. Oath of office. I am sorry. I was.
You have to give us a.
I have to swear you in before we can vote on chair and everything. Okay. Board members, it is an honor that you are elected to guide the education of our community's children. As you recite the oath of office, you assume a tremendous responsibility as a director of our school district with the duties empowered by the Minnesota legislature. This power puts you and the other members of our school board in the position of being both morally and legally responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in the district. In carrying out this responsibility, you will be asked to fulfill the roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. In providing vision, the board, with extensive participation from the community, envisions the community's educational future and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public school. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. Because as a board, we must be accountable to the community. We must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement in all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of our students in our community schools to advance the vision of our schools. Furthermore, we must strive to work together with myself and staff to lead the district forward, fulfilling the vision we have created. Fostering excellence for every student in areas of academic skills and knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. Having signed the acceptance of office and oath of office, I hereby publicly affirm your commitment to the oath of office. Could the four new board members please raise your right hand? I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Minnesota.
and of the state of Minnesota.
And I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office
And I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office
of school board member of Independent School District 108
of school board member of Independent School District 108
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
You are now school board members. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you, Carl. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh,
Such riveting. We'll move on to A5, the election of board officers, and we'll start for calling for nominations for board chair. Are there nominations for board chair?
I'd like to nominate Sarah Ishins for board chair.
Okay. Board member Ishins has been nominated. Is there any other nominations for board chair? Any other nominations for board chair? Okay. Hearing none, board member Ishins is nominated by acclamation.
mhm. So
I
now
do it 3 times, right?
Yep,
Okay, I had to ask.
You're good.
In case you guys change your mind.
Yep.
Okay.
So now you're good.
Now we'll move on to vice chair. I'll call for nominations for the office of vice chair. I would like to nominate Shelby Erickson as vice chair. Is there any other nominations for vice chair? Calling for nominations for vice chair again. Okay, hearing none, board member Erickson is elected as vice chair by acclamation. We'll move on to clerk. I'm looking for nominations for the office of clerk.
I'd like to nominate Josh Krales for clerk.
Okay. Any other nominations for clerk? Third time asking. Any other nominations for clerk? All right. Board member Krales, by acclamation, you are clerk. And then we'll move on to treasurer. Call for nominations of treasurer. I would like to nominate Emily Probox as treasurer. Is there any other nominations? Any other nominations? This is the most awkward part.
Yes.
Okay.
Can
Hearing
you say it
none.
like an echo?
Any other nominations? All right, hearing none. Board member Pearlbox is nominated as treasurer by acclamation. Congratulations, everybody. Okay, we'll move on to A6, the approval of the agenda. Is there any questions, changes from board members?
Move to approve agenda as presented.
I'll second that. Motion made by Krail, second by Ishins. Any other conversations? Questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Agenda is approved. We'll move on to A7, consent agenda. Mr. Schockmeyer, is there anything you want to highlight in here?
We had accepted Deb Stacken's letter of retirement several months ago, but I do want to say again, just a big congratulations to Deb Stacken. Last Friday was the last day. She had been here 31 years. She has so many plans, and I'm just proud of her, and we're really gonna miss her. So I just put it on here again to just, now she's officially done. So congratulations, Deb.
What an amazing amount of service.
Agreed.
So many lives that she has changed and touched. It's awesome. Thank you. Any other questions or comments about consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Ishins, second by Pearlbox. Any other conversations? All right. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, consent agenda is approved. We'll move on to the acceptance of gifts. You're very fortunate in the gifts department here this month. These things were all donated by American Legion, Edward Bourne Post 343, Music in the Park for $3,000, volleyball equipment for $3,500, cross-country timing clock for $850. These following things were donated by the Central Booster Club, padded chairs for $6,000, an elementary Inchy bookworm machine for $6,300. VFW Post 1783 was $850 for the cross-country timing clock. The Cologne Fire Relief Association donated $2,000 for the Raider Room, and Minnesota Valley Electric Co-op donated $1,000 for the backpack program. Extremely generous gifts from our community, so thank you. Any conversations or
Question,
questions?
so music in the park, what do they?
So the music in the park, the actual
There's a-
performers, they get paid.
They get paid.
Yeah, so
they're
typically how it works is community ed will chip in, we get donations to chip in, and then there's usually a business partner that brings some sort of giveaway, like Dilly Bars or something like that. And so all of those things coming together is how music in the park is going on. Yep.
I'll move to approve gifts.
Second.
Motion made by Krail, second by Erickson. Any other conversations or questions? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, gifts are approved. We'll move on to public forum. Doesn't look like anybody's storming the front, okay. We'll move on to informational items, monthly reports, student council. Welcome, you just share your name and a little bit about what you want to bring, yes.
I'm Braylon Jens. I'm a junior, and I've been on student council since freshman year. And this year, student council has been really good. You know, by past meetings, you probably know about homecoming and everything. But primarily right now, we're focusing on Valentine's Day. And we have a lot of good ideas planned. I know we've linked up with, I think it's the flower shop, kind of by On Point, kind of, if you know what that is. We're looking to get flowers from there for teachers and students to buy. And I know we bought in just little things to sell around school for the students and everything. And I know we've partnered up with just more teachers to make we're making a heart cutout for students and everything. So I think primarily all over will benefit the students pretty well. Sorry.
Well, thank you, Braylon.
Yes.
Any questions from board members? No? Thank you for coming. We always say this, you're more than welcome to stay, but you'd be one of the first that would ever do so if you did.
You guys are happy to be here.
And then student representative report, Caitlin,
Yeah.
were you with us?
I connected with her. She doesn't have a report. She's in New London Spicer tonight, so that's why she is not able to be here tonight. And then.
Move on to the superintendent
Yeah,
report.
you bet. So I moved the finance committee report into here for this month and maybe in months to continue. So if you click into that, you can take a peek. But I think the thing that is most important is enrollment. I mean, that is the lifeblood that keeps our school district going. We have had a little bit of a drop in January. From the beginning of the year, we did have some students. We lost 10 students between January and December, January. We had 6 moved to an online school and 4 moved to like not near here. So, you know, it's just, but we are still ahead of schedule per ADM. So again, just looking at this graph, the gray line is the gray bar graphs is our enrollment from last year. The maroon is our enrollment from this year. Yellow is the budgeted ADM amount, and the blue line is our trend line across the year. Any questions on that?
Am I looking at this wrong, or did it look like January went up?
January went up slightly. I think we got 3 back. So December
Okay.
was our
Gotcha.
between
So you're
December
saying-
and January.
So the
I think we
net
were in net
Okay.
negative 10.
Gotcha.
And that trend line is just from the start of the school year.
Start of the school year. Yep. And I will tell you, like, October is a really big month. We don't necessarily talk about that a lot, but a lot of our federal aid is based on our October 1 ADM count. So if we lose students, we lose some state aid, but not necessarily the federal. That's set in stone on October 1. Every month we talk about our promise to voters from our 2019 levy, and our tech levy is, as it should be, is about halfway spent. Looking at the bottom one, our curriculum budget, we spent about a fourth of it so far. Ms. Colstead is working through curriculum purchases with different departments as we speak. So typically those hit like May, June, because the work is done this year and the purchase happens at the end of the year for the following year. Our staff development right now is actually under budget. So it won't let me put a negative number in there, but we are about $19,000 over budget in our PD. But I will tell you, once we do our revised budget, that will turn around because we received $35,000 of aid from the state of Minnesota for the READ Act. So as that stuff has been hitting right now, but that will, like I said, when we do our revised budget, we didn't have that money when we did the budget at the beginning of the year. So that will be reflected. Any questions about this specifically? Okay. Today I was down at the Capitol with our Region 2 lieutenants, just talking about educational issues with the lawmakers for things that matter. This year has started off to be a tad bit interesting, with some disagreements between the two parties on who controls what and whatnot. So in actuality, I'm gonna get on my soapbox real bit. It is a big deal for us. We, by law, have to create, develop, and pass a budget by June 30th, and you have to see it a month ahead of time. So if they can't get their act together, it is likely that we are going to pass a budget without any real, like, numbers from what they're going to do. So not yet, but when it gets closer, I may be email the board and say, hey, we need advocacy to this person to get some action. And it's unfortunate because there's actually no consequences to disagreements. So I did not get a lot of hope after today. So it
That could be a really odd feeling down there.
it was. So we'll see. But yeah, so I think that's all I have. Oh, actually, one last thing. So we, Shelby, Troy, Sarah, and Spencer, we did attend MSBA training last week, was that 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, down at the Hyatt Hotel. So, they are phase 1 and phase 2 trained, ready to rock and roll tonight. So, that was good, just getting to know him and spending some time. So, thank you for attending.
Thank you. Any questions for Superintendent Schopner? Okay, we'll move on to discussion items. Saracen.
D1, Stadium Video Board Marketing and Financial Plan, Joe Clayton Schuckmeyer.
Yeah, my friend. So I'm gonna stay here because I'm gonna run this.
Go for it.
As you present, and I'm just gonna chime in. And
Yeah,
so,
sounds good.
so before, I'm just gonna set this up. So, Mr. Clay is our athletic director, and he has been working with Daktronics, which is the provider of all of our scoreboards. I think they are the provider of scoreboards. And he has developed a plan with them to possibly make an addition to our facilities. So I'm gonna let Joe take it from here.
Yeah, so Daktronic partners with high schools across the state of Minnesota to when they're looking at adding scoreboards in gyms or football fields or stadiums. And along with those bigger purchases, they often put together a way to raise funds to purchase such a scoreboard. Many people saw this fall when we made the state tournament and played in the section championship over at Watertown Mayor, that Watertown Mayor High School has a very large video board outside on their football field. I would like to pursue that option here at school, and Daktronics is helping me put together a sponsorship program that I would like permission to be able to go out and solicit local businesses to be sponsors of our program. And Mr. Schockenmeyer and I have kind of dove into like what that would look like. So these partnerships have different levels. Different levels are different dollar amounts, but also different benefits. So we've had some small sponsorship programs with our football program right now and our wrestling program, but this one would be more of a school-based, and it would cover all sporting events. So the money raised through the sponsorship program would cover the cost of the scoreboard. And then the hope is the longer you keep the sponsorship program alive, the more money that it continues to bring back to the athletics department and the school in general. So they work with us to kind of put through this package, big packet full of why you should do it. So there's a letter in there that I kind of wrote. They talk about why you should partner with schools, the difference between the academics and the activities of the budgets. It goes into talking about, well, what's good for the businesses, making sure that the businesses are into the schools are into the businesses. It's going to help keep kids customers, those kinds of things. We broke down with Vanco kind of our attendance numbers based off of our football ticket sales, volleyball, soccer, wrestling, basketball. As you guys know, the school board approved that 7 through 12 students get in for free. So I would argue that these numbers are a little on the low side because they don't actually take into consideration our own student count. With our one playoff football game that we hosted, I think our student ticket sales were up about 175 from what our normal were. So, you know, I'm not saying we have 175 students at every single event that we get to, but I definitely think the numbers that they're on here are on the lower half from that. So this kind of shows the prospective businesses, you know, how many people are they going to be in front of as you go through. So
just to reference it, we're on page 7 of the slide deck that's in here. That's in your packet right now.
yeah, they continue to go through, you know, kind of why it's good for those businesses to partner with us, you know, what we can do with their money and their funding and their finances, even after the board is kind of up and paid for, some different things that we can drive businesses back to them. One of the things that Daktronics does also is they partner with the school, because a lot of these video boards end up using iPads where there's an app-based program. So a lot of school districts actually bring that into the classroom as well. So a big selling point for Daktronics in getting these up and running is that we can partner with teachers to get it into the classrooms so kids can learn how to do this. There's lots of jobs availabilities when kids want to get into the collegiate level, if they want to, you know, run the boards, run the music, and do that kind of stuff. I have tentatively talked with Paul Hallquist already. He does some media work for us with some of the Raider recap videos and things. And he's pretty excited that there might be a partnership ability with him, that he could bring this into some of his already worked out classes. So Daktronics really sells some of the futures in these careers, whether it be a play-by-play announcer or those kinds of things. So they really push the education side of it as well. Later on in the I'm not even sure what page that is. Page 10 is a rough drawing of what we would like to put up there. So that is the location of where we would hope. So you notice that it's on the treed side, so it's on the Dairy Queen sideline. It has the normal score and time and down and distance that you would have. But in the middle, it kind of gives you a glimpse of what you could offer during a track meet. So you could have all the lane assignments, the places, the times, and the timers that come out to run our races. Our track meets can actually link right into the boards and use it to start, and they live update and do that kind of stuff. If you were at the football game, that's where they can put, you know, touchdowns and field goals. And the sponsors would have ability to, you know, we could show their logos, we could do those kinds of things up on this board as well. We would also sell some advertising space for them. On the next few pages, you can see kind of where we have tentatively planned to put their logos to give them some space. So the back of the press box, outside of the concession stands, and then also we would like to bring it inside to our current concession stand areas, just to give them a little bit more publicity so they can be seen. Starting on page 15 is where we kind of break down what you get with each level of sponsorship. So you can see our super anchor is how they divide the highest level. We look for one person in that super anchor, and they kind of get anything and everything as far as we want to go. We've talked about, you know, in games, another first down provided by blah, blah, blah. We've talked about even making them a game day sponsor. They can bring employees out onto the field. We can recognize them at half times. We can do those kinds of things. You maybe saw this fall that we started kind of to experiment with some tailgating or pregame type activities that could roll kind of right into this same sponsorship idea and give them an opportunity to get in front of customers, as you would call them, I guess, as our fans at events.
So we are looking to have that, like Joe just said, there's a super anchor, and then there's an anchor, which I think there are 8 anchors. 6 anchors, and then partners, and that essentially could be unlimited.
Yeah.
And then, okay. Yeah, part of why this is on the board agenda for tonight, and then there's actually action on this tonight, is Joe would like to get started seeking out sponsors, because the hope would be for like an August, so June, July, August install date, install timeline, I should say. And we wouldn't move forward with that until we have partners. So the sooner, the more time that he can seek out partnerships, the faster we can move along. And we have, in dialoguing about this, we do have strong interest. I would argue a verbal commitment from a local business in town to be the super anchor.
Wow.
Already, and we haven't even solicited. So, yeah, you want to cover this?
Yeah, so on page 17, you can see kind of the breakdown of what I'm hoping for. It kind of shows you a little bit of the numbers that we're looking for. So we believe that we have the one super anchor that we can get at the $15,000 mark. And these are 5-year commitments. The hope is that you do a good enough job and you give them enough publicity that 5 turns into 10, 10 turns into 15, and you just kind of keep rolling it. The anchor partner sponsor, we would like to sell 6 at $7,500, and then the premium partners, we'd like to start with 10 at that $2,500 mark. As Mr. Schachmeyer said, you know, that premium sponsor could grow if need be, but it could also, it's with how the breakdown of the costs and what we would be paying per year on the loan, we wouldn't necessarily have to hit that 10 amount, and we would still be fine making the payments that we need to make.
So I want to be specific. So this, if you add this all up, it adds up to something in the neighborhood with $71,000 of sponsorship income coming in. What we are looking at doing, because Daktronics, they don't self-sponsor, or they don't create loans, they don't self-finance, I guess, worth I'm looking for. So we did approach a bank in town to do a 10-year lease, and the payments on that, depending on how much the electrical would cost, would be anywhere between $41,000 and $46,000 a year in payments. And then, so that gives us a little bit of wiggle room, and also knowing that we have potentially have the super anchor already. It just, we wouldn't want to move forward until we had between $35,000 and $40,000 of signed sponsorships. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, and you know, no, I think that's kind of the nuts and bolts, and that's kind of the thoughts of how we're going to pay for it, the financial backing. You know, eventually they do make indoor scoreboards as well. The longer you keep these sponsorship programs, that can be an option for us as well. So you can bring it inside for volleyball, basketball, wrestling, those kinds of things as well. Personally, I chose to start with the outside board as we've been interested in starting to host state tournament football games. We've become a host for section soccer tournaments. We've been a host for section track meets. We're already kind of getting the bigger events that want to come out to us. So if we can, again, kind of make this last leap with the video board, I definitely think we could become a state tournament site for 1A and 2A football games, those kinds of things. So again, driving people to our towns, driving people to our businesses, kind of putting us on the map a little bit in that sense.
So one last thing before we take questions, this is all self-funded. So I just want to be cognizant that last year we did have to make some budget reductions. There's not any fund one money, general fund money going to support this. This would all be done through sponsorships. And then the second thing is we are a little bit in limbo on the electrical. We did designate this site when we did the construction project. So everything is roughed in, all the conduit and everything is there. They just have to pull the wire. So we did think about this ahead of time. So total cost, so if to enter into an agreement with a bank, they do need board action before they start looking at numbers. So the total cost of this is $340.
Where did we land on that one?
Or $349.
No, it was because we had gotten quotes for either a 325 or a 350.
Yeah, so let's just say the maximum it'll be will be 350,000,
Yes.
depending on how much the electrical is.
Yeah, and the hope again, sometimes you can get lucky with the electrical companies, as if you can try to sell them as one of our partnerships and sponsors. We can, work on that side of it as well. And for those of you that live in town, we have enough electricians in here. I think one of the groups would be happy to help us out in that. And it's hard for us to come up with a number because, again, a lot of it is roughed in and already there. So we're unsure of what the cost would be to hook it all up. So we could get a ballpark number as the Norwood Sports Complex just worked with Daktronics to put up the new scoreboard that they have out there. And Extreme Electrical did that work. So if we're looking for ballparks, we could easily reach out there to see what they did or saved, because I know Extreme did their own electrical out there. So.
I have a question.
Mhm.
I think it's really awesome that we're looking at it as a sponsorship program. I think it really speaks well to what our priorities are, that this was not part of the original plan for us, that we spent taxpayer dollars for that. The one concern that I kind of am thinking about is, what kind of conversation have you had with the boosters? Because I think sometimes in a small town like this, some of our businesses get fatigued.
Mhm.
And so we're coming for this, and then the boosters come for something, and then the softball boosters come for something, and then the volleyball JO team comes for, you know what I mean? So I just want to be like, having thought about that.
Yeah, and I have talked with some of the Booster Club members. Actually, I'm not gonna put words into their mouth, but I feel like some of them would be in favor of a all-encompassing sponsorship program like this.
Mhm.
That would put more money into the athletic department's hands, where we can do some bigger purchases for those sporting teams instead of, like you said, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and everybody coming back to them over and over and over again. We're in a little bit of a weird spot where a lot of our programs are kind of separately run. They're not all under the general Booster Club piece. There have been conversations about trying to merge that, and it unfortunately hasn't ever really gone anywhere. So I think by going through something like this, and again, after the board is paid off, continuing those sponsorships would keep money into the athletic program, where then he could make those purchases instead of the boosters, instead of the local businesses having to go back and back and back. So the money would just kind of shift, I guess, is where a lot of that stuff would come from.
So then we have to worry about, so this goes, let's say we got that $15,000 sponsor, and maybe they gave to the football, the volleyball. Now they give this, and they're like, well, now we're not doing any more with that because we don't have the funds. So now you just upset different groups to please one. So how do we get over that hump? And I'm all
Yeah.
for it, but how do you get everybody on
Yeah,
the same page?
there's-
Well, I had a little bit of a question similar to that with the overage. So say the best case scenario
Yeah,
is that you get all 71 for for 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, if you're paying 46,000 a year on that payment,
Mhm.
yes, working ahead to pay down ahead of time is a good thing. What do we do with the overages that are in that mix?
Yes.
And how is that applied?
so,
Where does it go?
so I think that has yet to be determined.
Okay.
So Joe did talk about an indoor board. I think, part of the dream would be to take some of that and put it in a little rainy day fund for an indoor board to start some seed money for that. And then the other part of the overage would be,
Maintenance.
Director Clay would, like, there are some things that we still need. So like there would be enough there to make maybe 1 or 2 big purchases, and then have this seed money.
Because I know
over here.
activities does kind of come out of our,
Yep, it
we
does.
do have to supplement a little bit out of our general fund for it. So would this help bridge that gap in that?
Not initially, but eventually, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually $71,000 worth if the prices stay the same.
Yeah.
And potentially more if there's an indoor board.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Josh's question, and I just want to give a hypothetical. The verbal commitment that we have is actually for the full 10 years. So,
For the super anchor, you're talking.
for the super anchor,
And is it
No,
gonna
you
take
don't want
us?
to.
no, I'm just gonna, let's give a hypothetical. Let's just say we went to Wells Fargo and we were gonna get this loan from Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo gave us a rate, and they calculated over the course of that 10-year lease that they were gonna make X amount of dollars. I think Wells Fargo could easily commit to 10 years, knowing what they're gonna make on the interest of the lease, to turn around and give it right back to the school. that's what I would push Wells Fargo to do.
But is Wells Fargo already contributing, that they would stop contributing because
I
of this?
don't know if Wells Fargo is contributing right now, but not as much as some of
Gotcha.
the others.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
my opinion is
Thank
that,
you. You're
Wells
picking up on it.
Fargo. Gotcha.
the current sponsorship programs are on a smaller scale compared to this one. I think if I could have conversations with those booster clubs and those coaches, it's not necessarily that that money is going to disappear. It's just that it may go into an activities directors fund versus the touchdown club or the softball booster club. It's not to say that I can have say over track team needs new hurdles. Okay, track team, you don't need to find the funding for it. I have it through this sponsorship program. Football needs a new sled. I have enough in this fund to front that side of it. So I'm not necessarily concerned with that. It is a conversation that I'm gonna have to have with those teams if we can get this up and running, that their programs may have to change a little bit, but I think we could work together knowing that the fund may not go to them, but it may come to us.
And I've been involved with plenty of fundraising, and probably everybody else too, but when you go to the same businesses over and over, it's like, well, now this church and this youth group and this group and that group, you have everybody coming to them. So the sooner the better we can figure out how to get. I cut a check for Central Schools, I give them $500,000 and I'm done. They don't touch, they don't. Let's go. Big number, you know, then the baseball, the football, the basketball, everybody's going to the same person and they're gonna keep doing it. And what happens, you know, if we have too many people that want it?
Yeah.
You know, so we have 6 spots for the anchor. Are we gonna take 8?
There is an opportunity to customize this to go to 8 if we feel
Or
that
whatever,
that,
you know, whatever the numbers would be.
Yep, and honestly, I think when we started looking at businesses that have contributed, I mean, I think the number is in the upper 30s of local businesses who have given to different teams and different sponsorships around. So by us narrowing it down to the 17, if you took the 1, the 6, and the 10, I'm not saying that then the other 15 are open for other people to continue to give to. But it may come back that they like what we're doing and they may want to get in at that level, and we may have some leverage with them in that sense too.
Are these numbers set in stone? I mean, obviously we got the starting spot, so could we change, I guess the question, instead of 15, we could make that a 30 from the get-go if we wanted to?
Yes.
Just numbers to get to it. And
But I don't think you'd want to change like so much with like the super anchors and we don't want this to look like an advertisement. We want it to still be like our signs to still be Central Raiders and stuff and not just.
Yeah, no, I'm saying we could
Right.
change this 15, so that's
Yep.
Sprinklers, same exact spot there, but it's got more value.
So I'll challenge you to go to watch Hunter's basketball games and the other gyms that you're gonna see this year and
I have.
count the number of sponsorships because I shouldn't say most, a lot of schools have these programs and everybody's numbers are different.
Yep.
I mean, Lester Prairie's, for example, they did not feel like their premium sponsor at that 2,500 mark was gonna be, so theirs is significantly lower, but they have a lot of people at that level. So what that does is then your logos get smaller, your advertising pieces get smaller. The things that you can throw in these bundles shrink dramatically. And they don't raise what I think we could using these numbers.
Yeah.
So a lot of it depends on the size of town, the number of businesses, the size of those businesses.
And you'll learn more as you go out.
Right.
Yeah,
You'll learn
yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
about what is that right amount.
And so what I've directed Joe is especially when you get to the partners, the $2,500 level, whatever you get once you get someone at $2,500, that's the price. I mean, you can't give it to Shelby at 25 and then Troy, you get it at 1,000. Like that just doesn't work. So, I think the market will set what it is, but we do have a little bit of room. And part of it is to not just cover the cost. Part of it is to seed money for something indoors and to be able to make some purchases. Like Joe talked about.
Does the pricing from Daktronics include like the tech to run it, training for teachers, students to operate it, that's baked into the price?
Yeah, so their price included everything but the rough install of the electrical, so. Good question.
Do you have any sort of a timeline along with those tough conversations or what Josh is talking about? Because personally, I've been involved in, you know, a bunch of different booster clubs for the last 8 years. And I've always felt like we're missing something here by not doing that. And so I have a feeling, I could be wrong, but you're gonna get some questions just like that when you go to people. And I think having a real clear plan to say like, this is our plan of how we're gonna do this is gonna make it more successful. I might be wrong on that, but that's my gut.
Yeah, and I hope to know if I can get this off and rolling, then I can start having those conversations with the other groups. And again, not taking away from what they currently have, but working with them to kind of modify what they're able to offer.
Right, kind of like a committee, like a subcommittee or something like that out of the boosters.
I mean, to be frank, I think the people impacted most might be the Touchdown Club with the things they do with the sponsorships that they do on the side.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that they couldn't still do something like that.
Right.
But I think that's the one that feels the most over.
Yeah, that one would be the one that's the most overlapped. I mean, because they and I have worked and promised different things like admission to football games. They had a touchdown sponsor, they had a sack sponsor, those kinds of things. So they wouldn't necessarily, they would still be there, but they could be through our program instead. We would also, do some different logos on the programming and that kind of stuff. So it's similar to what they're running. And again, knowing that if the football program needs something, we would be able to help them to that department as well.
I'm assuming that you haven't presented this to a Touchdown Club yet because we need to approve it yet, but I have a feeling that they'd be like, go, because it's cool. It's really cool.
And they would benefit, I mean, honestly, the football program would benefit from it being able to use it. We've been talking with the football program and the Touchdown Club for a while about doing play clocks out on the scoreboards again. So this is walking to the touchdown, getting a quote for $18,000 to put play clocks up. Going to the Touchdown Club, they said, I'm not touching that for $18,000. You go to the Booster Club, I'm not touching that for an $18,000. A program like this, looking at space after being able to pay it off and knowing that there's 20 to 30,000 in wiggle room. Okay, year one, we can look at some bigger purchases like that. And honestly, I have a Joe list of things that I would love to update in the gyms and even outside. The wonderful new fields that we have across the street could use some scoreboards, those kinds of things. And this would give us a fund to work with other groups that might need a financial kick. So
What happens about not fulfilling? So you get somebody as a super anchor, they don't fulfill it. Now we're out that 15,000, 7,500, whatever it is. How do we recoup that when we were hoping, I mean, is there a plan in place for something like
So
that?
we do have a contract that they would sign, and I know you're asking worst case scenario. I mean, worst case scenario is so we could take them to court to fulfill fulfillment of that contract, because they will be signing a contract that our lawyer has already looked at and approved. But this is different than the one that's on the Norwood Sports Complex field. This is a 5-year at a time. So people can get out after 5 years. And I think the heavy lifting is right now. And then And then 4 years, well, but hopefully 4 years from now, people are re-upping, you know, and I would like to, when you see this later on in the agenda, I would like you to move forward with it and just like unleash our athletic director onto the public.
That's scary.
Are those all metal signs, like on page?
Yep, I have it up here. So like
Yeah, so are
here,
those all metal?
I don't believe they're metal. I believe they would be, well, I don't believe they're metal. The conversation that we've had with Daktronics is,
Yeah, something that's gonna hold up with the weather?
yes,
It's
they would be weather,
They're
acrylic, it's weatherproof.
Yep.
And even where the anchor sponsors are, they're made to be removed. So it's not a scrape off and you need a whole new sign. They would be spot by spot. So after 5 years, if you have some turnover, you can take that part down and put the new logo back in place is the conversation. And again, Daktronics has done a lot of these, so.
Yeah, we know it works. Right.
I mean, you go to Waconia, you go, pretty much anywhere that has a video board of some kind went through Daktronics and at least used this blueprint that we have. We are the last school in the Wright County to have a sponsorship program. I love that.
What about like for, you said you have the super anchor partner potentially. So is that something we want to send to like an RFP or something? So it's going out to others to give others the opportunity in case somebody says they're giving you 10, we'll give you 20. I don't know how far you go without.
My initial gut feeling for that super anchor is no this time around.
I don't know.
I am happy and settled right now to help us get off the floor. The anchors and the premium sponsors, we picked those price points thinking that they might be hard to find, but not impossible. So I feel okay with where we're at.
So I will tell you, 15,000 for the super anchor is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you look at other sponsorship programs, I mean, it's in line with larger schools, for sure.
Yep. And oftentimes that ends up being a big corporation who has.
Well, it's 75 grand they're committing over 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's not a,
Yeah.
but I'm just curious in case we have somebody and you don't want to make somebody upset, like we never even asked me.
Yeah.
It's a small town, you never know. People surprise you with money. I mean, look at our donations we had in class.
Yeah.
That'd be a great problem.
Yeah.
I agree.
There.
It would be a
Great problem.
It would be
Look at what the Legion and VFW do. I mean, to just pick one or just to say, I'm just going with this one, never asked anybody else. I think we should, go after all, here's what we have.
Yeah.
Give me your price. What would you do? What's it worth it to you? There could be,
So there are some schools who do that after they've established it and got it off the ground. Honestly, talking with Huddle, our live stream for sporting events, part of the Huddle package is you can tie into the sponsorship program a 30-second advertisement that shows at the beginning of every live stream clip. Schools have turned that into a blind bidding war per se. I mean, when you have 100 athletic events and they have to watch your 30-second advertisement piece, some companies are willing to pay more than others are on that side of it. So again, I don't think we're set in stone at where we're at, but this was a good ground level that I felt comfortable running with for the first time.
It feels like the super anchor, get that set, if it's locked in, lock it in.
Yeah.
And that next tier, I think we've got room to go find more, maybe the premier sponsor, but
Yeah.
if we have a willing sponsor at the super premium or super anchor level, that feels like locking it.
all I'm saying is, we don't want to burn a bridge before we, start it, that's all. So we give everybody the opportunity and hope they all want to fight over it and we have 2 super anchors and things.
I guess, so we don't have to take action on this right now, it's gonna be later on. but I just, I think Joe's taking the feedback and, I am like, honestly, after tonight, if this is approved, I'm just gonna set, I mean, he has worked on this from really inception to today. It's his baby. So I just wanna.
It's really
support
important.
him.
Yeah.
And it looks great.
I really like slide 13 with the super anchor with the microwave.
The microwave on the
chairs.
What is that?
Yeah, that's,
The two guys that I work with, they've been phenomenal, and they come out and they're just, all right, where do you want it? And they snap a picture and they send it off to
Doesn't
their
matter what's
designers, and they don't. Our construction cones and the other ones are,
Super anchor.
And when we were at Watertown for the playoff game, that was all it was talked about.
it was the
That
buzz,
was
and
the
actually,
big
I
buzz.
the number I was telling people that night was far on the low side of what I was telling people it costs, so.
Yeah, it's.
And Watertown Mayor did build theirs into their referendum so that they kind of put that all in one, but
And this is your dream, like, this is your baby, this is like, this,
You're
this
gonna
would
take it
want.
home.
if I
It's not
could get
the
this
low
off
end,
and
it's middle,
running,
it's-
and if I could get this up and running and I know that I could have a cash flow of what this would provide me in years 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think our athletics department would be in a very good space because we have some upgrades that I would love to see, and this would give me the funding.
And this scoreboard would be what you want, it's not missing anything, you don't.
No,
you're
this is
corners on
what,
it. Okay,
this is what I envision out there as a place to go. And I know from listening to other people who saw them at Concordia St. Paul and even Watertown Mayor, well, it didn't have this, well, it didn't have that. And, even for a junior high football game, you don't have to run all the fancy graphics. You can just still utilize the basic scoreboard out there. So it is a little bit of best of both worlds from that standpoint.
the son at a D2 football program that does not have any access to this.
Could you get the play clock and put it in this right away?
We can, yeah, it's separate, but we could work with Daktronics, just the same people that I was in.
I mean, cause
those
don't we need a
conversations to get it
play
up.
clock for sectionals and as we move on to state football?
If you want to get to the state tournament host site, they don't mandate it, but it is highly encouraged.
So I mean, if we're looking at it, might as well, as I look at that,
So I didn't understand the question. Play clock in the scoreboard? Or-
Adding them
Yeah.
in this same,
So.
They're
we
separate.
have, again, we have all the powers there. We have 2 spots in each of our end zones for play clocks. It just, like Joe said, they're really expensive.
yeah.
For two clocks, So is it possible? Yes, but that would adjust our, you know what, let's take that, when we talk to the bank, maybe our number moves a little bit and let's see what the payment is.
if I can fulfill all the sponsorships, looking at what cost year one, I could throw those in and be fine.
It seems like it just makes sense. If we're gonna do it, let's do it right. So we don't have to go back and redo it.
Any other questions?
thank you, Joe.
Thank you guys,
Cool, thank you.
appreciate it.
Great job.
Operational items, E1, to authorizing the administration to contract for budgeted items.
So this, just the background on this, you are basically giving me authority to enter into leases or purchase things that are $175,000 or less. This is something that we do every January. Like this one, I'm gonna need some action on, but our lawn mowing contract, I don't. So that's the background.
Any questions? I'll move to approve the consideration to authorize the administration to contract for budgeted items as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Aishin, second by Probox. Any other conversations? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Approved.
E2, consideration of annual authorization of legal counsel.
So the background on this is these are all of our potential councils, Knutson, Flynn's and Dean's, Ratwig's and Maloney, Rupp, Anderson and Squares and Walsberger. Just depending on what our needs are, we would choose a different law firm. Our typical, our main law firm is Ratwig and Maloney. But if I had a special education need, I would probably go to Walsberger, for example. So recommended action is to approve them all, and depending on the need, I would choose what best fits Central Schools.
Any conversations, questions?
Approve authorization of legal counsel?
Second.
Motion by Erickson, second by Kelly. Any other conversations? All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, legal counsel approved. E3.
E3, consideration of board member compensation.
Each year you have to set your compensation. It has been $65, $65 for quite a while, probably since 2019. I'll give you some background. Some boards choose to do a stipend for the, 2,000 bucks for everyone. Some choose to do meeting by meeting like we do. Some pay the board chair more and the clerk more and the treasurer more, the officers more, basically. It's up to you. I'm gonna stay out of it. Like we've done a comparison. You are a little bit on the low end, to be quite frank, but I also know there's consequences to raising your pay or that. Like, I don't know. You guys do what you want to do, but you have to set it every single year. So talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I think either way, we gotta keep it at, I'm fine with the 65 the way it is and per meeting, because if you do a flat fee, then all of a sudden you have people that don't show up and then you're paying them, they're not here, and that's obviously not a good thing for anybody, so.
Yeah.
I agree with Josh, keeping it as is fine. So I'll make a motion to continue with the previous year's pay for board members.
I'll second.
Motion made by Aishan, second by Krails. But I didn't want to cut off conversation, so I apologize for moving fast on that. Is there any other conversations?
Did we want to discuss moving the payments to like quarterly or something?
We had talked about that last year, to say,
Just for ease of.
so basically, we would keep track. I would take it, because I can take like this board book takes attendance. And then you wouldn't fill these out every time. Like you would get a payment, say right now, you would get paid in May for January through May, and then you get paid in December for the second half of the year. You want to do, and basically these things would go in if you want.
How would you like us to keep track of our meetings beyond that? Negotiations?
I would
this,
probably
that, the other stuff?
honestly, I would probably set up a spreadsheet for each one of you, like with a tab on the bottom, like I would just have it electronically where, like, for example, Sarah and Shelby and I meet the week prior to board meetings to set up the agenda. Emily and I will meet for treasurer now. We have teacher negotiations coming up. That, like, Emily is our veteran on that. I mean, that was 24 meetings or whatever, so I think.
Just for ease of you guys.
Just ease of-
I think
Yeah, for
we
ease
were-
of the office staff, what does that do?
Yeah,
So would you want
Amy would be really happy if we had, she really would.
And does it make a difference as far as budget wise?
Let's make it, she
I
just,
don't feel like we're
she just have
breaking.
to process these, and then she cuts you, because you guys get a check, right? Or do you get a direct deposit?
Direct.
So that's probably easier. Like at one point in time, we were cutting checks for everything, which is just, if she didn't have to cut another check in her life, she would be happy.
Well, how about if we do this? Why don't you connect with Amy
Yeah.
about what that'll look like? So if we set our rate,
Yep.
keep track of your times you do meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Can you bring that back to the next board meeting about what the recommendation with that might be? If there's individual spreadsheets that you want us all to
Mhm.
fill in each month and
Yep.
sign at the end of our 6 months, we can do that. Whatever way is easiest for you guys to bring that back with your recommendation.
Perfect. And are people okay with that generally? Okay.
And that's something we can just put in effect now, so that we won't have to worry about January, go from February forward.
Let's have you, because we haven't done it yet, let's have you turn all these things in, and then I'll ask her what's
Okay,
easiest,
yeah.
and then we can come back to that. Fair enough?
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Did
Last
you-
time.
So you didn't vote, so.
No,
stop.
so
I have there's a.
did I make the
Yeah,
motion
you
and
made the
Josh
motion.
seconded it?
Mhm.
And then, but we can figure that, how we actually get
The logistics,
payment
yes,
Yeah.
later. The
I don't think
logistics
that's-
piece doesn't need to be on here.
correct.
Is there any other conversations or questions? All right, then I think we're ready for a
No,
vote.
good remembering.
Well, then you get it know very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I would,
I'll talk
can't we
about
just tell,
that.
I mean, can't
Probably
we just
email
say
us all
pending her? We can wait and that could go into effect starting in
in
January.
January,
I think that's a.
or February. If we could.
Well, you could, let
She
me talk
hasn't
to
done
her.
it yet.
She hasn't done, you're just setting the pay,
Yes.
how you get paid.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can
We'll figure out.
sort
Okay,
Okay, that'll
perfect. All right, going back to that motion, keeping it as the same. All right, any other conversations? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Board member compensation decided, E4. Board member.
Oh yeah, sorry, E4, I skipped that one. Consideration of board committee assignments, my apologies.
Okay, I have provided you with the old board committee assignments. Okay, I can pull this up. Everything in yellow are board members that have left. And also keep in mind, we are down one board member. I know we're gonna be talking about that a little bit later, but that doesn't mean that everything has to get filled. And just because these are the board committees, doesn't mean that that's the way they have to stay either. So, I'm open to dialogue about what people want. And I will just, take notes.
Should we just go through them one by one?
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
fine.
easiest.
Yeah.
So we can start with the Minnesota State High School League, go first one, you guys all see too?
Yep.
Okay, so we can start with the Minnesota State High School League. In the past, it was Strickfadden, and alternate was Erickson. Does anybody want to be a part of that one? Or Shelby, would you mind being an alternate continuing, or would you like to be off?
I'm fine either way.
I think Troy would be good.
So
You wanna
is it
be
helpful if
Minnesota
I
High
tell
School
you
League?
what you have to do?
Yeah.
Oh.
For all
If you were looking, so basically, you and Mr. Clay, whoever the Minnesota State High School League rep is, that board member and Mr. Clay are voting members. So typically, Mr. Clay is the one who makes the votes, but like, for example, this last year when the Minnesota State High School League, brought in ninth graders into the high school league, so they were covered by the catastrophic insurance. Kyle made that vote. So, but basically it's voting, and there's not meetings really you have to attend. They kind of, it's like self-fed, they give you all the information that you need.
Thumbs up?
Yep, I'm good.
It's very.
That was easy.
Shelby, are you gonna be,
I'm trying to stay alternate, sure.
Community Ed
Community Ed
board?
Board,
I'm already on that.
on the Community Education Board
Mhm.
too?
That one has way more meetings.
Yeah.
And so there's three of you. You're on it and you're on it.
I've been on it from the school board.
Yeah.
Those two are on as parents.
Parents,
Yeah.
Oh,
Does one of you want
there
to
you want to
jump
do it?
on as the school board member?
he can take it.
No, it's fine. I've got kiddos in preschool and kindergarten.
Plethora.
And Josh?
Southwest Metro is Emily and Josh. Are you two okay continuing there, or did you put in a doozy last year? Okay.
It can only go up.
Okay. This community development and liaison, do you want me do you need more? I can just take that one.
Okay.
I don't know really if we'll be doing a ton, but I guess if the city needed somebody
So,
there, I
yeah,
can go.
so this has been, I know Connor, was part of like the senior committee. I don't think our commitment is like that you need to be on all these city committees. I think when there's a need and they want school input, you're the call I make, and then you go to the meeting if they want to partner on something.
I can do it.
Okay, do we want to have an alternate? I think we should have an alternate. We've run into enough
Wouldn't that
issues.
be, so for that one, just food for thought,
Mhm.
as community development, wouldn't it be best to always have the president and vice president listed as,
Chair and vice chair on that one.
you know what I mean?
Right here.
Just because it's community development related? Not like you have to do anything, I don't think Connor.
Well, he was part of them because he
Yeah.
was just part of
He
it.
was part of
Yeah,
the
he's already
development.
had
Yeah,
it, so.
yeah. So are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't anticipate, there being a ton of meetings. I just don't, but it's, okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
it works perfect. Finance committee, I also can stay on that, I guess. You kind of nominated yourself and accepted that.
Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah, if you want to get off that one, I'll be an alternate on that one too. If you don't want to be on that one.
Policy,
Mostly.
Yeah, I'd like to be on that one.
Spencer.
Shelby, did you want to stay on?
I'm fine staying on it. It's fine. I can't be on a couple of those other ones just
Yeah.
because I.
Yeah, because you,
I've got a spouse.
that's good to point out too.
Yeah,
Thank you,
so-
yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna go to negotiations teams. So MSCA, this is the paraprofessionals. So, Sarah and Shelby were on that, Kyle was on that. Emily, I cannot have you on both teachers, and I really don't want you on both teachers in Paris.
Okay.
No one, well, it's too much.
For historical
Understand.
perspective, I know the teachers was busy too, but it would be nice to have you back.
Yep, I'm fine with
Really
that.
good,
Yeah.
like whatever on the teachers, I didn't mean to jump ahead, but I
You
think
know-
that would be nice.
Yeah, no, if someone else wants to.
I can stay on the paras, that's fine. Anybody
I'm
else?
fine with that too.
One on?
Guess I'd like to be on the teachers.
Okay. Will you take Paris? You
Yeah,
wanna be on teacher?
I'll take teachers.
Well, these two can't be on teachers.
You guys.
Right.
Good thing.
I'll take-
So,
I'll take
okay,
teachers.
so I need one more for Paris though. So teachers will be Troy, Emily, Spencer.
Paras are
Let's
Shelby
do
and
it.
I.
And Josh.
Would you mind doing it, Josh?
Would you mind doing Paris?
I'm already on
Yeah,
for these other ones.
okay. Or do we wanna just do it with two?
We can
I'm
do it with
fine doing
two.
with two. I mean,
We can do it with two.
I think.
but.
Yeah, we
okay.
got it.
CEA will be, yeah. And really, so I wanna be, honestly, it's only
But we can also do,
this, it's every other year.
yeah,
Teachers, yes. Teacher pairs are this year, and then typically on the off year is principals, office staff, and, like the
Okay,
directors.
so this year it's teachers and parents.
and we
Yes.
can leave that one too for the, whoever is on for the next board, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yes. Forgot,
You're so
there's a
smart.
7.
Every once in a while. So,
So
yes.
Troy, Emily, and Spencer are teachers then. Superintendent,
I can stay on there. Superintendent was hard to negotiate.
Put up a fight.
principals, Emily,
Fine.
Sarah.
I'm fine on there. Anybody else want in?
You can add me in, okay, thank you. And Sarah. And then non-union, so this is, so we messed this up kind of last time. I do think the people that are on the community ed, Spencer and Josh, I would like you on the non-union and maybe Troy then too. Because of the community director, he's kind of, that's, so, would you mind being on that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so I'll go Troy.
Would you give it up, Shelby?
Yeah.
Do you mind?
Yeah, I'm just thinking if there's something that Josh wants to give up
Yeah.
that I could
Or
help
do you
with.
wanna give that one up and give it to her?
No, I'm not community ed, I want to be.
Okay.
With that one.
All right, Troy, Josh, and
Do you want me to be alternate for Southwest Metro? Not that that really matters much, but
I want to, Emily's been killing
We made him go to one meeting.
it.
It was a tough one. He even had to
Yes, it
read
was.
some. Of all the meetings.
That was no joke.
The tenth one.
It
What?
You picked-
We've gotten through all of that now.
Okay, are we good then?
I think so. Does everybody feel okay?
I think that's all.
Something needs to change or you get call me.
I have it here, I will change it on here, so whoever makes the motion, make the motion to approve, I make a motion to approve as discussed. Per the
Okay.
changes.
So what do we put the?
The new person?
I think the only one we had was the para. No, which one was the one?
Para, yeah,
Was
para,
a policy one?
new. Finance. Who wants to give something up? Cause let's put them on one negotiations and one thing on top.
So I'm on the principals one, the teachers and non-union. So
Okay,
which-
can we take you out, principals, so put new person on principals. Okay,
And we need the other one.
and one up top, does somebody wanna give something up top?
Well, for the community ed, we've only
Yeah.
had one of us at the meeting. We
Yeah,
don't,
yeah, I don't think you need to, no, I don't think you need to do
we're not gonna have more than one representing the school board at
Yeah.
that meeting. So that one's not, but the state high school league, is there any reason we want? Okay, so let's,
Yeah, no, or do we just leave
Just
it
leave
as
it,
is?
just leave it, it's
Okay.
okay.
all right, send policy, we own this spot, we put finance.
And okay. So,
Move to approve board committee assignments as noted and discussed in the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Erickson, second by Probox. Any other conversations? Here's your chance, get off committee, you don't want it. Okay. All those in favor? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Board committees approved.
E5, consideration of the resolution directing the administration to make recommendations for reduction in programs and positions.
so this is a resolution, don't freak out. We do it every January. We do it every January.
Going away.
Yeah. We do it every January. So this, because of how the budget process works, we need to approve a budget. So we are starting to, in February, you will get the revised budget, and then we start working on next year's budget right away. So, this just gives us, there's timelines in terms of when we have to notify people. So this just allows us to get a head start on that. So, but it is a resolution, so it has to be, voted on as such.
Any questions for board members? Hearing none, I'll move to approve the resolution directing the administration to make recommendations for reduction in programs and positions. Motion by Isham, second by Crales. It is a roll call vote, so is there any other conversations or questions before we go? All right. Crales.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Ishams, aye. Probox.
Aye.
Krieger.
Aye.
Erickson.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
E6, consideration of resolution assigning LEA representatives.
Just give me a second, pull this one up. So each year, there are some federal programs that, we have to name, by resolution, who's in charge of them. So Title I is Andrea Kolstad and Kathy Dvorak. Title II is Ron Riverbach, and Title IV is me. And those are, we're the ones that fill out the applications. I have to submit this to the feds to do this, and it is the same. It's usually the elementary principal, our interventionist at the elementary level, and then the superintendent.
Any questions? All right, I will make a motion to approve the resolution assigning LEA representatives as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Isham, second by Erickson. Any other conversations? Okay, it is a resolution, so let's now start at the other end. Erickson.
Aye.
Krieger.
Aye.
Probox.
Aye.
Ishams, aye. Kelly.
Aye.
Crales.
Aye.
Resolution passed. E7.
Consideration of official depositories for school district funds.
So I just highlighted the things that need to be changed, so I would update this with our new clerk, treasurer, chair, vice chair, so this will get updated. And on that note, Emily, for sure, and Josh, I don't know, I'm sure clerk has some signing on, so yeah, I can see already that the clerk has some signing cards. You will have to go into the banks in town and sign a signing card. Once those are ready to go, I'll get in contact with you two. But we'll update this document and these are the banks that we do business with. One change from last year is we added way down on the bottom, Bremer Bank, which is the bottom one. That is just our accounts payable and payroll, but we do business with them. So I added them, but Security, Old National, and Citizens Bank.
Right, thank you.
Motion to approve official depositories for school district funds.
Second.
Motion made by Erickson, second by Probach. Any other conversations? All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes.
E8, consideration of official publication of the school district.
For certain things, we have to publicize things in a newspaper. Typically, it just says we have to submit them. Typically, a newspaper doesn't have classifieds anymore. They're online, but legally I still have to do it. Elections are the main ones. So it's not News and Times, it's the Patriot in Waconia is our next paper up. See if they're there next year. Yeah.
Approve official publication of the school district.
Second.
Motion made by Krails, second by Krieger. Any other conversations? All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Publication approved.
I feel like I need to say this. A lot of local newspapers are going out of business. Probably that was necessary.
Finding hard.
Yes.
It's hard to find a place.
It's hard to find
It is.
places, and now we are moving further and further out of town.
E9, consideration of the process for filling the board member vacancy.
Okay, here's the big daddy. We have a board vacancy. There's only 6 of you here. So I need you all to talk about what the possible timeline is. I have what we have talked about in the past in a document there. I'll just briefly go over it. So right now, this is our first meeting since Director Smith's resignation that you are considering the opening. You're considering it right now by talking to it. So there's going to be an application period of at least 10 days, business days, 10 business days. So the soonest it could open is tomorrow. And then once that happens, we set a date in our next agenda item as a regular meeting for interviews. So there will be an extra meeting in February where we'll be in this room. Somebody will come sit here and you will ask them questions. That meeting will vote on one candidate, whoever gets the most votes. And then a clock starts from that meeting date for 30 days of this cooling down period in case somebody from the community wants to challenge that. And then they would be sat at the March board meeting. And luckily the March board meeting, at least what I have put out there, is March 31st. So we have a little bit of wiggle room here. And I would say that what I would recommend you do is that you, as part of this, you create a little subcommittee of a board vacancy committee that will develop 5 questions that they would come and so that way you're all not doing it. So you develop 5 questions. I would do whatever process you want to do, however you want to hold the interviews, but that way the work is just getting done on the backside during the final week, if that makes sense. So what you are approving tonight is in the next agenda item, the actual meeting date. You're approving this little form that I have in there, wherever it is. Hold on, let me get there. Let me go back. Sorry.
Oh, sure.
Back.
It's under.
Yeah, it's under the,
Yeah, but
scroll all the way, no, scroll to the
Oh,
top
did I
here.
keep going?
Scroll up, 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 up. No, on this side, scroll up.
Sorry,
There you go.
There you
Oh,
go.
this one.
Agenda item.
Nope,
Oh, this
agenda.
one?
Yep.
Oh, here, I didn't realize it's thank you. So what you're approving tonight.
Wow.
What you're approving tonight is this is the form that the applicants are gonna fill out. And then, I would give notice in the newspaper that you just, approved of and other various social media, places that there's a vacancy. And so we get people to come.
So what
And I'm
is,
gonna stop talking.
so what is your realistic timeline that would be the easiest, the amount of time that you need to get able to post? What do you?
If
like,
I
if
could get it done tomorrow, like
you better
ideally,
like a
like
Wednesday or something?
when, if you gave me a day, that would be
Okay, Okay.
nice. I would appreciate that.
and then we'll look at the dates and add the next date
So,
in E10 is what you're saying?
yeah,
That
yes,
action
you will.
item?
So let's, so if we're doing that, what you would say is 1, 2, 3,
We have no holidays in there, do we?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, so it's, the 11th would be the last, so the 12th, you could hold a board meeting. That's the earliest date, February 12th, that you could hold a board meeting. But because our board meeting in March isn't until the 31st, you really do have a little bit of time.
So we're in March, we're doing the 5th, Friday.
Because we're in spring break, the 24th.
Spring break.
That's why I moved it.
And the 30 days, I feel
It's
like we're
calendar.
kind of going backwards, those are
Those are
calendars, right?
calendar days. Yep.
So in theory, could we actually do the interviews on our regular board meeting? In February,
You could.
the 24th?
You could.
Okay, I don't mean to jump
No,
ahead,
you could.
looking at that,
Well,
but
okay, before I say that, it seemed, well, yeah, because there's 31, that would be 37 days, yeah. Yes, you could.
okay,
And then what I would recommend is either you push that up.
start at
So I'm
5.
gonna give you a counterpoint of why that wouldn't be good. What if you have 10? So if you had 10,
Oh,
okay, so I would also
yeah,
say
that's true.
that part of your
Right.
process,
You're correct.
I would have that board sub chair or that subgroup, maybe you say tonight, we are not gonna interview more than 3 people. So then your subcommittee of the board filters through applications and filters some out, and they bring the top 3 candidates to the board. Because what I would say, if you're like, we're gonna interview everyone, that could be,
True. Yep, gotcha.
We'd have
A
to
long
invite
time.
kindergarten back.
Yeah, they'd have to
Join on this meeting.
so if you were to do that process, I would say, do it at the board meeting, do it at 5 o'clock or 4:30.
Okay,
We could run into, then if there's any, that 30-day cooling period could turn into 35 days and we miss it anyway.
It has to be at least.
35, it doesn't, it
or
can
at
be
least
more,
30.
or at least, it has to be
At
at
least
least 30. It
At
can be,
least 30 days.
yeah, so you're good, if you do it at the board meeting, you're good, and I don't wanna scare you, I think you're gonna have a hard time getting an applicant, not too many applicants, really do.
Well,
I'm gonna be in Mexico last week of February, so. So I can do it the week before it's doing.
are you there for the board meeting though?
On the 24th.
No, I won't be there.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out where that is. Right. So going back to the committees, I know I contacted Gary Lee about this when this was open, so I'd be more than willing to be on that committee since I had talked to Gary Lee. How many people did you want on that committee?
No more than 3.
You can't have more than, well, that's what
Yeah,
my question is, if we're only
You
6,
can't have a quorum.
we're not a quorum with 3, you have to have.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 or 7 is how it's.
Yeah,
Anyone else want to be on the superintendent or the school board
please, one person.
subcommittee? At least one other person.
I could do it. You know, I'm gonna be gone, so we're.
Well, this is
It's
making the questions,
Making the questions. for
making the recommendation for the interviews if
if we have enough candidates.
we have enough candidates.
Schultz and Josh.
Yeah,
Okay.
for 2.
There.
Don't have a lot.
Spencer, do you want to be on it?
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
so
he's
Shelley-
gonna be in Mexico, so he
So how
should be out.
about we just, but yeah, just.
Just because you're gonna be in Mexico and we're not.
Because you're gonna be gone. That's fine, okay? And then,
So then to stay on that vein,
mhm,
or do we want to set a minimum or a maximum amount of people we would like to interview? No more than
I would say
3.
3 is.
3?
3 is good.
We can find 3 in there.
Yeah, okay, all right, yep.
okay, and then this is the form that they need to fill out. You okay
The
with
form
that?
you need to fill out, good with that.
Okay, and then what date, so
Pick
are you
the-
thinking February 24th that you would hold interviews?
If it's 3 only, there'll be 5 of us.
So that means 3 people, well, I mean, Well, you have to vote on each person. I mean, it's like hiring a superintendent, to be honest with you. It's whoever gets the, somebody has to
Yes.
get 4 votes. Or no, there'll be 5 of you.
Only five, because
Five
Josh
of
was
us.
on.
Three, somebody has to
Josh
get 3
three.
votes.
Okay, so it's not unanimous, it's just.
No,
Yeah,
somebody has to
still
get
be
3 votes.
So are we okay? I mean, Josh, how do you feel about, how strongly do you feel about being there? I guess that's kind of where I
Well,
want
if anything, I could call in.
Oh, we don't, no,
You don't wanna do that.
That's you.
Troy, Spencer,
We're not-
either of you want to chime in on Josh calling in from
No, we
MSBA training?
We don't do that.
No,
It's
we might.
all the COVID stuff. It's,
So,
we don't,
I don't really want to either, so.
And we
Get
couldn't,
it all figured out.
we couldn't do the 17th because that's President's
That you
Day.
can't do.
Because we can't do that day. And when do you, I'm sorry, Josh, this is way too much personal stuff on your vacation, but when do you leave?
Well, if I'm not, I mean, if you need 5 anyway,
Are you okay with not
Then
being
just figure it
present?
out.
Okay, then I guess
We'll see
my
you tomorrow.
vote, going backwards, I
Yeah,
guess sticking with the 24th would work.
so I'm gonna recap. Shelby, Sarah, Spencer are going to create the questions and screen candidates to get down to 3 if we get more than 3 candidates. We're gonna hold interviews. Half an hour each, 15 minutes each. Like
20 minutes.
20 minutes each.
Yeah,
We're gonna,
just 1
we're gonna,
hour of
we're gonna,
interviews.
at 5 o'clock, or at 4:50 on the 24th. That gives us that way we're not just running into the regular board meeting. At 4:50, 5:10, and 5:30 on the 24th.
Sure, ladies.
That's what we. Okay,
Okay. Before we, is there any other conversations or questions? Does that sound like a process that everybody's okay with? And,
sounds great.
okay. All right, hearing that, I will make a motion to approve the process for filling the board vacancy as discussed as a group with the dates and times that Superintendent Schachtelmeyer alluded to, the form and the process.
Second. Sorry.
Motion made by Aishan, second by Probox. Look up to you, 'cause you're pretty close. Any other conversations? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have a process.
okay. Oh, sorry.
E10, consideration of regular meeting and work session schedule for 2025-26.
Okay, here is the proposed regular meeting schedule. I did the 4th Monday of each month, but there were honestly quite a few conflicts this year. So 317, I moved that,
So that'd be 3:31.
or, well, yeah, so we can do it either 3:30, yes, we're gonna do it 3:31. I think I moved it up, I don't know why. I moved it to 317. So we're gonna move that to 3:31.
Oh, yeah.
And then, 519, I moved up because there was a conflict with Memorial Day. 623 is, we want that one as late as we can. If we want to push that back a week, we could. That's the 4th Monday though, but we have to have a budget by that day.
If we need to have a special meeting because the legislature, the budget process,
That is.
might need to explore that if you get that pinch
I mean,
back.
or you could move it to the 30th. There's 30 days in June, right?
Mhm.
June 30th. You could move it to the 30th now. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking if we moved it to the 30th and then we had talked about not doing that July meeting,
Yeah.
that gets us a little bit closer.
Yeah,
Because.
You could adjust the June and the August
Yeah,
to.
that works.
Well, because that would, if you did that on the 30th and then did nothing in July and then came back that second week in August because you moved that up a few years ago because of symptoms test.
Yeah.
And
And it's nice to
Workshop
have it
week.
before work, yeah.
mhm.
so,
So I propose 6:30,
yeah,
2025, nothing in July, and then August 11th.
okay.
That's when I'm taking vacation, Josh. That week. I'm just being
Okay, so
silly.
I'm going to, I'll send this out, so I'm
I'll
gonna
get
delete
to
July
it.
board meeting. Because we're gonna meet a week later.
And that was the main reason, just because of our meeting.
We're already meeting, it's,
Oh.
Okay, so if we're straight, the July board meeting
Was
lasted
really,
20
really
20
light.
minutes.
Yeah.
And we're no issues with doing that?
No, perfect. You can, Southwest Metro does it too, don't, or do you not need it? So, you don't need it.
Oh, we need,
Okay, well, you used to not need it. Okay, so September, October are normal. 11/17, because of Thanksgiving, our auditor wants this. That's our auditor report. So they need us to have it on the 17th. And then the truth and taxation meeting, was moved up because we're on winter break the next Monday. And really, we get to do this again, but, that's what I
You
messed
messed up
up.
the wrong
I
years.
need to look at that. Okay, so then, did I mess that up? Did I do that on the 26th? Instead of March, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's what I did. I edited the 20. Oh, look at it, it still says 24. I didn't even do it. So I accidentally put it down here. So,
And we wouldn't even approve the.
yeah, so we can leave.
Except for maybe the January one.
Yeah, the January, so let's take February, March, April, May, June off of this, because you're gonna do this again next, well, we do it again in June. Or we'll do it again in August. In August, yeah, so that's fine. But then there's also gonna be some more conflicts the following year. There's just this. So let me recap. Everything's the same, and we're not adding any meetings because we're doing the searching 24th. We're moving the March board meeting to the 31st. Everything else, we're deleting July board meeting and moving June board meeting to the 30th. Everything else is gonna stay the same through 1/26/26. I got it right here. And our meeting.
How about time? Is everybody still okay with 6 o'clock unless noted specific, like our next one will be a little bit different of a time?
Yeah, the only thing that's past you is the ban. We changed it because of that stuff you don't know until.
Yeah.
I think we almost have to just keep an eye on the schedule, and if something pops up, we just have to.
I mean, do you feel like 6 o'clock is a good time for really if you want public input on things, well, I guess it's not necessarily public meetings in the public, right? We learned that. Is 6 o'clock a good time for a public to arrive? Is 5 o'clock better? Is 7 o'clock better?
Like 5's hard.
5's hard.
I think
6 is
7, you're
good.
gonna lose me.
yeah.
There you go. Good, all right.
Come on.
Okay.
And then do we
Agreed.
still want
Thank you.
board members as a nugget, just to kind of pencil in that second? These are, a lot of these are messed up, but there might be other work sessions, but that would come with quite a bit of time ahead of notice that might
yeah.
happen.
So,
We did kind of save the second Monday of the month.
Mhm.
It's a potential work session.
yeah. Okay,
Done. Do we have to make a motion to approve all of that?
yeah, so
Whatever, as presented.
What Tim said.
What?
Motion made by Brumbox, second by Cradles. Any other conversations? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
All those opposed? We have a meeting schedule.
E11, consideration of the financial plan to construct a video board at the stadium.
is there any recap that anyone needs from Mr. Clay's presentation?
I think it was all pretty much, so it's just a matter of, I still think it should offer that main spot to everybody, just to not have any bad blood. That's all I would like to say on record.
So I thank him for the time
Yeah,
he put into that. The
kudos to him.
presentation was very nice. Any other conversations?
I was gonna move to approve
You
it,
can do
but,
that. You can say that.
okay, move to approve the financial plan to construct a video board at the stadium.
Second.
Motion made by Erickson, second by Krieger. Any other conversations? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It is approved. Go, Mr. Clay. Okay, next board meeting will be here February 24th, and we will be starting early at 4:50, interviewing potential new board members. And then we'll go into our regular meeting at 6 o'clock. Anything else? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Aishin, second by Trails. Anything else? Right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? We're adjourned. Congratulations, board members.